Hello, family. It's Raf, and welcome to Torah Tuesday. Today, we're going to look at one of my favorite Hebrew words, the Shema. Come on, say it with me. Shema. Good. It is my belief that knowing and understanding this word can help us know God better and also to be better Christians in the world. Often, Jesus would end a teaching with the phrase, "If anyone has ears to hear, let him hear." Well, what in the world does he mean? Knowing what it means to hear in Hebrew can shed a lot of light on this mystery, as well as others. We think of hearing as simply taking in a sound, but Shema really means more than that. Let's look at what Shema means in a couple of different contexts. When the people of Babel started to build a tower, God thwarted their efforts by confusing their languages, so that they would not be able to hear each other's speech. Here, the word Shema means to understand. When Sarah came up with a plan to solve the couple's infertility problems by having Abraham sleep with the servant Sarah, the text literally says, Abraham heard the voice of Sarah. In this case, it means that he agreed and decided to go along with her plan. Joseph, on the other hand, did not hear Potiphar's wife as she seductively asked him to come to bed with her. It doesn't mean that he didn't hear her or understand her, but rather that he ignored her, that he refused to do what she asked. Think of all the times that an angel appears to announce that the Lord heard someone's prayers. We have examples in Genesis 16:11 and Luke 1, verse 13. Once again, this doesn't mean that God just got the news, but that he responded, that he answered their prayers. The word Shema can refer to hearing or to other actions that result in listening, understanding, responding, and doing what is asked. If you think about it, it's very logical. Have you ever yelled at your kids, let's say, to do something, and then when nothing happens, followed up with, "Are you deaf?" You're making the same assumption, that their ears should also be connected to their feet. If nothing happens, there's something wrong. In Hebrew, it goes something like this: hearing, listening, understanding, doing. Now let's take a look at Deuteronomy 11:13. The Hebrew literally says, "And it will be, if hearing, you will hear." Most Bibles interpret this phrase as being about obedience. In fact, if you look up all the places where the word obey occurs in English, the Hebrew word behind it almost always is Shema. So believe it or not, Shema is to obey as much as it is to hear. The word Shema actually encompasses both what is going on in your head and what results in your actions. In Hebrew, having ears to hear means responding in obedience. You have ears, but you don't hear. The Shema is also the name of the prayer that has been recited by observant Jews, including Jesus, every morning and every evening for thousands of years. It begins with Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4 and 5. "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength." The Shema was a daily recommitment to love God and to dedicate yourself to following and obeying his will. Jesus was once asked by a Torah teacher what the most important commandment was. He quoted the Shema, Jesus. He included the phrase, your mind, and then he added Leviticus chapter 19, verse 18, which is the command to love your neighbor as yourself. As Anthony mentioned yesterday, Jesus, as part of his daily life, would go away to pray. Jesus would say things like, I only do what the Father or God tells me. How did he know what God was telling him? Well, he would Shema. He would hear what God was saying through prayer and through scripture, and he did what he heard. Jesus boiled down the whole of Torah to these two statements: love God and love your neighbor as yourself. So how may we be like Jesus today? Well, first, love yourself. You know, you're worthy of love. In these stressful times, we tend to forget self-care, so it's very important. Second, find ways to love your neighbor. That could be those who live with you, those in your close proximity, or your extended network of relationships. Most of this will have to be done online while we're quarantined, but you get what I mean. Third, you show God love by doing the first two. This lets God know that you're listening. Love is a verb, and there should always be an action that comes along with a confession. God loved the world so much that he gave his son. Jesus loved us so much that he died for his friends. He laid down his life, and that includes you. With that as the example, I'm sure if you ask God how you can love yourself and your neighbor, he will tell you. The skill you will need is to, that's right, Shema. Once again, the first word of the Shema isn't just about hearing. It meant take heed, listen, and respond. It is a call to live out your love for God with every part of your being. I thought we could end our time today praying the Shema in both the Hebrew and the English. Here we go. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha, u'v'chol nafshecha, u'v'chol me'yodecha, ve'ahavta re'aka kamoka. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. And love your neighbor as yourself. If you found this helpful, please like, share, make a comment, or subscribe to our channel so you can keep up to date on our daily devotionals. Grace and peace, family. And I pray that you have ears to hear and that we'll see you next week on Torah Tuesday.